The annual enrollment period for your Medicare needs and changes is coming soon, October 15th through December 7th. Locally owned with over 75 years experience, Statewide Insurers Group provides the knowledge and expertise needed to ensure you find the proper Medicare coverage right for you.
Relationships matter. Call Statewide Insurers Group today for the answers you need now. Call us at 252-316-8166.
Being prepared and trained is the best way to keep your family safe. The best way to be prepared is to learn from those who've spent a lifetime protecting us. Barnes Safety and Consulting LLC offers concealed carry classes with instructors who are law enforcement officers active and retired with more than 100 years of law enforcement experience. Monthly classes are taught year-round with private classes and special group rates available. Classes are $75 and held in the Bailey area. Call or text 1-800-653-0643. Get your concealed carry permit and avoid becoming a victim.
And welcome to the K-Files, Uno Dos Tres. We got three of us this morning. So we have Seighman with us this morning. I had to think of your name. Thank you for coming. I had to think of his name for a minute. He hadn't.
That's terrible.
I feel like I haven't seen you in forever, but it's been a month. You did come last month. So anyway, I do want to thank our sponsors this morning. I always want to do that. Statewide Insurance Group has been with us from the get-go. Appreciate it so much. And also Barnes Safety and Consulting. And this is Mr. J.P. Barnes right over here. So we want to thank him as well. We have a case this morning that you want to talk about that is in our book. If y'all have a book, you want to open it up to maybe midway, you will see the case that we're going to talk about today. So tell us what case you're going to do today.
This morning we're talking about Jaquan Antonio Underhill. Mr. Underhill was born in 1992, and at the time of his death in 2016, he was 23 years old. Mm-hmm. He was contacted by some friends, and him and a buddy went to Shacks after dark and picked up two other friends that had been at the club. And they went to a popular hangout spot in Rocky Mount and hung out there until about 5:20ish in the morning. They left there, and on their route back to South Rocky Mount going home, encountered a suspicious vehicle somewhere past the store there at Raleigh and Nashville. At some point near Raleigh and Kinchin, that vehicle pulled up beside them and began firing shots into their vehicle. Inside the vehicle, Underhill was struck and transported to the hospital. After he was struck, they continued driving to get away from the vehicle, ended up on Chamberlain in South Rocky Mount, and then subsequently called the police because he was unresponsive. And we responded, and he was pronounced deceased, and we began the investigation. There was some talk of a confrontation that he had at the meeting spot after they had left the club, but we were never able to confirm that. Somebody knows something about where they were, what they did, who they may have had a problem with, and that's what we're looking for today. Somebody who may have been at that spot or at the club or friends with, family with, someone that's associated with Mr. Underhill that can give us some information.
Brady, go back to that picture. Now, this is a spot that we can recognize. Isn't that the 301 bridge?
That is the 301 bridge, the warehouse there on the right.
And North Raleigh Boulevard is
West
the street.
Raleigh Boulevard.
West Raleigh.
This is West Raleigh Boulevard back towards 301.
Okay. And you know, that's very identifiable right there.
Mm-hmm.
So
And then the street sign at the beginning is Raleigh and
you're
Kinston.
always a street sign person, and that's good. You've taught us well about
There's
that on the
there's
show.
the intersection there, Raleigh and Kinston, so that people can put a location with
Yes,
the store.
absolutely. All right, if anybody knows anything, there we go, right there, street signs. If anybody knows anything about this, please give us a call at 406-6736. That is a hotline number. It is anonymous, folks. It is anonymous. We ask you to call. And here's the text-to-tip information. You can also text REMPOL and your message to crimes 274-637.
You can also call Crime Stoppers, or you can just call the police department. Or you can stop an officer that you see on the street and talk to them about it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it will still, even if you're talking to the officer, it will still be,
Right, yeah, it can still remain anonymous.
remain anonymous, yes. So, and the Crime Stoppers number is 977
1111.
Yeah, 1111. 977-1111. So, you can still call that number or the number on the screen. So, we do appreciate you talking about this case this morning. You know, nothing good happens after midnight. I've always heard that. And this was like 5 in the morning.
5:30 in the morning.
5:30 in the morning. What are you doing out at 5:30 in the morning? So, can't be anything good. So, anyway, do we have another case to talk about, or is that the only
That's the
one
only
that
one
you
I brought
brought
today.
today?
That's
Okay.
all I brought today.
All right, and any updates on any other cases? We hadn't had any
No, we're still waiting
updates.
for that. We're still waiting for that call. Like I said before, the most seemingly little piece of information could be the one piece of the puzzle that we're looking for to break the case. So anybody that has any information at all, we ask that you call or text or get in touch with us in some way, shape, or form so we can try to utilize that information to solve this case.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, Lieutenant Seighman, we appreciate you being here today.
Thank you for having me on.
All right.
The annual enrollment period for your Medicare needs and changes is coming soon, October 15th through December 7th. Locally owned with over 75 years experience, Statewide Insurers Group provides the knowledge and expertise needed to ensure you find the proper Medicare coverage right for you.
Relationships matter. Call Statewide Insurers Group today for the answers you need now. Call us at 252-316-8166.
Being prepared and trained is the best way to keep your family safe. The best way to be prepared is to learn from those who've spent a lifetime protecting us. Barnes Safety and Consulting LLC offers concealed carry classes with instructors who are law enforcement officers active and retired with more than 100 years of law enforcement experience. Monthly classes are taught year-round with private classes and special group rates available. Classes are $75 and held in the Bailey area. Call or text 1-800-653-0643. Get your concealed carry permit and avoid becoming a victim.
Okay, and welcome back. We appreciate Lieutenant Seighman for what information he provided this morning on this case, and we hope that we will get a tip on any case that we talk about. We have been talking lately, and I got so many comments after the show last week, so we know we're doing the right thing. We were talking about Rex Lynn Keel. This happened a couple of years ago. A murder, allegedly, Rex Keel killed his wife, Diana. They lived in Momire. To kind of set the stage, for those of you who did not see it last week, he lived in Momire, killed his wife. He fled when he found out that the officers might have been on to him. He fled to the western part of the United States, and Sheriff Stone and his team went down there and brought him back. And his comment was, I'm glad
you got me, or
glad
glad you
got
caught me.
It was a relief.
Glad this is over, something like that.
It was a relief to him. So anyway,
Being
we'll
on the run is exhausting.
Oh yeah,
you know.
really. It's got to be. I mean, you got to watch everywhere you go. You know, you're looking over your shoulder, and you get tired because you know, do you really want to check into a motel and things like that? So anyway, we'll be following this case, as I said, and more information is coming out all the time about it. As far as I've been investigating some things, the newspaper still has not provided me with I'm supposed to get them today, believe it or not. It's not that they haven't done it, it's just that we just got together. So we'll be getting some information on some of the newspapers. I'm looking at WRL reports, just trying to get all the details that we can get. It goes to trial October 4th in Greenville. We talked about that. There was a change of venue because his defense feels like he could not get a fair trial here, probably. That's usually the case. And he will still have Judge Quentin Sumner presiding over this case, and his attorney, court-appointed attorney, is David Braswell. So that's kind of setting up the case and what's going to happen. A lot of people say this is going to be a very fast case.
That's what I think.
You think it's going to be a fast case?
I do.
Because what has he got, But I just say, what have you got to lose? Just, carry it on through. I think he'll carry it to I think he'll be advised to carry it on to the end, because we talked about one juror is all it takes to have a hung jury, and that's just the way it goes. And if you can play on emotions, then you might get one juror that says, well, I believe him.
It wouldn't surprise me to see a deal cut a day before this actually goes to trial.
Yeah.
I mean, I would actually lean towards that.
And a lot of people are going to say in that case, because people like murder trials. They like murder trials. So maybe we'll see how it goes. We don't have long. It's going to be in about 2.5 weeks. So it won't be long at all before this case is done. He was born in 1962, so that means he is 59 years old, right?
Sounds right.
He's 59. So that's how old he is. Sad. He's still young to be doing this, but to have to stay in prison the rest of his life, if that's going to be the case. We're not trying to, put any words in anybody's mouth. We went over the different inventory list. We went over the inventory list that they got, and it was a lot of guns. A lot of guns. I mean, we said last week, we're just trying to go back over this because some people said, I didn't see it. But anyway, a lot of, Colt 22, Frontier Scout Revolver, Derringer SP-22, Magnum, S&W 357 Magnum Revolver. He liked guns. But, men like guns. A lot of men like guns. I didn't say that my husband, I don't know how many he's got, but men like guns. So is that really saying anything?
No.
It's not.
It's when you go to, introducing behavior patterns, the way they act,
yes,
the way they treat other people. When you kind of pull these things together, it starts to paint a picture.
Right. Exactly. So, anyway, he did nonetheless own a search warrant was given by Judge Sumner, and they did, and upon doing the search warrant, I think he realized that they were on to him, and he fled got his dad's truck. Remember we talked about that? Got his dad's truck. His parents lived on Rachel Drive. That's some new information. His parents lived on Rachel Drive, which is over there in the vicinity of the reservoir. And he got his dad's truck. Still not clear whether his dad gave him permission. I kind of doubt his dad even knew he was doing it, running. He probably just said, can I borrow your truck?
Borrow your truck.
So he borrowed the truck for real. So, anyway, he's charged with, of course, first-degree murder is what he is charged with at this time. So,
her phone and her text messages are going to shine so much light into this case.
yes.
Depending on what she has shared with friends, between what she has shared with coworkers about him and his behavior leading up to this.
Yes. And I had heard that. I had heard that she talked to her friends at work, her co-workers.
I'd love to
about
know
the
those
four.
conversations.
Yeah, I would. And they may come out in the courtroom. They very well may come out. But, I
Because that
think,
would be her speaking to the jury,
yes.
and that's powerful.
And his story was that she was picked up by friends because, as you were saying, JP, that's kind of, that's just a case and a half. You got the vehicle sitting in the yard. You've got all of her stuff in the house. The cell phone. Her cell phone's in the house. You mean to tell me, okay, she's picked up by friends. Okay, her friends pick her up. You leave your cell phone
The
at home?
first thing you're going to make sure you have
Is your cell phone.
is that cell phone.
I do. If I don't have my cell phone when I leave home, I think about it about a quarter of a mile down the road. That's as far as I'm going to get, because I reach for that cell phone and I keep my cell phone in the seat, in the passenger seat, because I do not want to fumble in my pocketbook. And I just pick it up, hello, when I'm driving. So I don't text while I'm driving. I don't do any of that while I'm driving. But I'm very diligent about that. But I will answer the phone. And so I know immediately, my point is, I know when I left my phone, she didn't come back to get it. So, anyway, that was another point that we made. JP said, the car's there, the phone's there, So,
Odd.
and we showed the house last week. It's kind of sad. The house had no running water, is what a friend of mine that lives in Momire said. He said the house had no running water. It was in terrible condition. And not like some of the other, it's kind of weird to me because I knew some of the other houses he had lived in. They weren't like that.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't the best house, but they weren't like that. So it's kind of strange that he was living in a house like that now. But, and now the question is, everybody's saying, well, are they going to get him for his first wife? Well, will they bother if see, I don't know how law enforcement thinks about things like this. Will they bother to do it if he gets life without parole?
I think you'll see those avenues pursued once this trial wraps up.
Because I think you need closure in a case, proper closure.
I totally agree.
You need proper closure. Okay, yes, they said the ice, she fell down the steps, hit her head. There's ice, and that maybe is closure for the family, but it's not proper closure if he did it.
That's right.
If he did it, it should be done.
He should be held accountable for it if in fact he did that.
Yeah. Absolutely. So that will be interesting to see if the Sheriff's Department, the DA, all of those folks do pursue the first wife, whose name was Bess Edwards Keel, was her name. So anyway, so moving along.
I'd love to know what her family is thinking.
Yeah, I know.
Where they stand on pursuing that
Yeah,
investigation.
absolutely.
What their thoughts are.
Yeah.
I would love to know that.
Are her parents, are they here? I think they were,
Well, didn't she go to Southern Ash?
she did, but I think her parents, they said, had to come from whatever country she was.
I'm talking about the first wife.
Oh, you're talking about the first wife? Oh, yeah, she went, yeah. I won't even think about what you were just saying.
Yeah, I'd love to know what
Yeah, I
her
don't know
family's perspective is on
anything
this
about her family.
investigation now.
Yeah, uh-huh.
You know.
Oh, yeah. I can imagine what they're thinking. When they might not have questioned it before.
That's right.
But now you've got a good point there. That's a very good point. But he met this wife. What country was she from? I can't remember. But he met her over there. He was overseas doing some work, and met her over there and brought her back as his prize wife. He felt like she was his prize, is what I was told. And he brought her back, and I don't think he ever really treated her great. I think the bad started pretty quickly from what I was told. But anyway, you brought up such a valid point, and I'd like to know if his first wife's parents, I knew nothing about his parents, her parents, Bess's parents. So are they living? Mother, father, I don't know anything about that, but that would be a very, very interesting point. So anyway, they now he had something else to bring up. He not only had guns, he had a lot of knives. He had a lot of knives. They confiscated many knives. So he was definitely a guy that liked weapons.
My oldest brother, Jerry, who lives here in Rocky Mount, he knows him.
Really?
They're not like good friends or anything, but they had crossed paths. My brother's an electrical contractor here in Rocky Mount, and through some type of business dealings, they had crossed paths, and he knew he liked to shoot guns, and knew he was like the outdoorsy type, and was aware that he was from over around Edgecombe County.
Yes. He lived on Cokie Road at one time.
Okay.
When he was young.
And my oldest brother was floored when this happened and unfolded,
Wow.
So
did he find him strange?
Nothing out of the ordinary. I mean, nothing.
I know. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, and looking back, I don't, I wouldn't be able to pinpoint anything. I mean, he was a quiet individual that, of course, you know what they say about quiet people. That's why I'm loud. But anyway.
It goes back to, like I've always said, you never know what's going on behind people's doors of their home.
You don't.
You just don't know. You don't know.
You really don't. Absolutely do not, unless you're the neighbors and you hear it. But no, you really don't, and that's a really good point. So we'll be following the case. We will, if it goes to trial, because you bring up a point that there could be a plea bargain. Very well could be. Attorneys like to do that. They like to do that. Try to plea bargain with the DA. So I'm going to keep in touch with the DA's office and just see if anything like this is going on or whatever right before the case goes to court. So I know you're very interested in this case. A lot of people were, and I appreciate the text and the emails and the calls I got after the show last week. We're glad that we're doing this case. So that's the reason we are going to continue a little bit of it every week until, and hopefully I'll get those newspaper articles, because they had some details in there about the scene, where she was thrown. What did they say last week? She was wrapped in a sheet or whatever, which led you to believe she had no clothes on under that,
I'd want to know where that sheet come from. Did it come from within that house?
Yeah, where
I
did
mean,
it
there's
come from?
just little pieces of evidence that just builds that case that something bad happened inside of that home.
Yes. And I still want to know the correlation between that, where he put her body, and him. You know, was this a popular place that he already knew? You know, because you rarely dump somebody somewhere that you are not familiar with.
That's exactly right.
You just don't do it.
You do it subconsciously.
Yes, you do. Absolutely. So, all right. Well, we'll be right back with you. Let's take a break. We'll come right back.
The annual enrollment period for your Medicare needs and changes is coming soon, October 15th through December 7th. Locally owned with over 75 years experience, Statewide Insurers Group provides the knowledge and expertise needed to ensure you find the proper Medicare coverage right for you.
Relationships matter. Call Statewide Insurers Group today for the answers you need now. Call us at 252-316-8166.
Being prepared and trained is the best way to keep your family safe. The best way to be prepared is to learn from those who've spent a lifetime protecting us. Barnes Safety and Consulting LLC offers concealed carry classes with instructors who are law enforcement officers active and retired with more than 100 years of law enforcement experience. Monthly classes are taught year-round with private classes and special group rates available. Classes are $75 and held in the Bailey area. Call or text 1-800-653-0643. Get your concealed carry permit and avoid becoming a victim.
Okay, welcome back. And a little bit more information that I will give you on the Lynn Kill case. He was caught in Tucson, Arizona. He said he had been driving 65 miles an hour for days. That's exactly what he told the sheriff. He said, I had been driving 65 miles an hour. And they found, and the sheriff said he could not elaborate at this time on that. For hours, not for days. He had drove 65 miles an hour for hours each day, he said, which that is for days, kind of. But that was interesting. He had, his parents had a 1998 Chevy pickup truck. That's the truck that he was driving. But they found in his vehicle she had an 18-year-old daughter, and she's the daughter that, remember last week we said they talked daily. And she said, it's very strange that I didn't talk to my mother today, because I always talk to her every day. But inside of the Dodge Ram that Lynn Kill owned was 2 pages from a diary, from the 18-year-old daughter's diary, 2 pages. And the sheriff said, I just can't divulge the info. I don't feel comfortable. He said, I do not feel comfortable talking about what was in that diary.
Well, you know, a lot of moms have a confidant with their daughters,
Yeah.
and vice versa.
Yes.
You know,
That's probably going to enter into evidence,
Oh,
because
no
it's
doubt
going to
in
have
my mind.
something that she was scared or she was something. I don't know why he chose those 2 pages. Lynn Kill chose those 2 pages to pull out, put in his truck. I don't know.
well, it tells you about his personality in the fact that he would read someone's diary.
Yes.
Okay, right off the bat, I'm thinking possessive, jealousy,
paranoid,
yes,
all of that.
yeah, and then tore him out.
Yes, tore 2 pages out. That just gives me the creeps.
See, I didn't know that. I wasn't aware of that fact.
I just saw that on the WRAL post from back then. I looked up some of the posts, and the news posts back then, and I hadn't seen that either about the diary. This is the first I had seen. That's the reason we want to get the newspapers. We can get more to have more in our mind when the trial's going on, about the details of it. So that's just kind of, anyway, let's go over one of the cases in our book that I promised. Let's talk about Montrell Wilson.
Are you at the front?
Let's see, Montrell Wilson. Let's see, that's page 26, right before that. I think I'm at close to the end.
Okay, I got you.
Yes. Let's talk about Montrell Wilson. This happened on 6/20/20. So it's a very recent case. That's one of the reasons I want to talk about this one, because it's kind of recent. At about 2:15 a.m., Edgecombe County Sheriff's Office received a report of shots being fired at 715 East Lashley Street in Pine Tops. There were over 15 people at the house that was being used as a liquor house when the shooting happened. Pine Tops police were first to arrive at the scene and found that 4 people had been shot. There were 4 victims. Devontae Burton and Montrell Wilson were pronounced dead at the scene, while a 3rd person was transported to Vidant Medical Center at Greenville, and the 4th declined medical treatment. Witnesses advised that a car came by and the occupants started shooting at the individuals outside the residence. There were several witnesses on scene. Someone knows more than they are saying. Okay, here's one of those cases now. Several witnesses were on the scene. Somebody saw something.
I guarantee you, people on scene know who did this.
Yeah, I guarantee it. They know what kind of car drove by. And I'm glad to talk about this case because we're giving Pine Tops a little bit of attention, which, this is Edgecombe County also, but this is the first case we've talked about in Pine Tops. So, but anyway, Lashley Street in Pine Tops, if anybody knows anything, it is completely anonymous. To call that hotline number right there on the screen. 15 people at the house. So, because they said it was a liquor house. What is a liquor house? What is that?
It's like a community drug house. It's where people go to buy liquor or drink.
Okay.
It's like a club, but it's an unsanctioned club, you might say.
Yes, it's in a house. Okay. So there were 15 people. So what does that tell you? There are numerous people that know about this. Numerous. And we need to help law enforcement out with this case. 252-467-6736. We pay out, folks, and we pay out pretty quickly, and up to $15,000. $15,000 is a lot of money. You might not get $15,000 because it is evaluated by law enforcement, not by us. And by the way, JP and I, will not even know the details. We won't know who you are, nothing. You're completely anonymous. But we won't know any of the details. The only thing I do is write the check. That is all. So, if somebody knows anything, it's anonymous. Please come forward and help the police with this case, because this is such, to me, a solvable crime.
And violence like this spreads in a community.
Yes.
If these people are not brought to justice, they'll be more emboldened to do it again.
Yes.
And again and again. That's the thing about crime. In society, a lot of people think, you know what? I'm not going to be a snitch. I'm not going to tell. But what they don't understand is they're feeding that monster to grow in their community.
Yes. Yes, they absolutely are. Well, I hope somebody will come forth and with some information on that case. All right, right below it, we'll go ahead with Devontae Burton while we're on this page, because we haven't done these cases. At about 2:15 a.m., Edgecombe County Sheriff's Office received a report of shots being fired. Well, that's the same case.
He must be the other victim.
Evidently so. Okay, Devontae Burton is, because he's up there in that one. Okay, we'll go down to Michael Joyner. Police responded to a call of shots fired after an argument. Michael Joyner was arguing with a person and a fight started. A man on scene got an AK-47 and shot Michael Joyner. It is not clear if the person he was fighting fired the shots or another person was on the scene. He passed away from his injuries. So, shots fired, and this doesn't even tell, man on scene, this doesn't tell where this happened.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with this one.
10/22/20. So this is another recent one.
Mm-hmm.
This is very recent. So people should actually absolutely remember this. I mean, I just wish it told us where it was at. But anyway, call of shots fired after there was an argument between Michael Joyner and someone. And a man on the scene got an AK-47 and shot Michael Joyner. So they're not sure if there were more than one person on the scene. So anyway, if anybody knows anything about the Michael Joyner case, please let us know. Give us a call.
If you know something, say something.
Exactly. That is the best saying. Absolutely. That is so true with law enforcement. If you know, please say something. Okay, we'll go over here to, on the page beside that, Melvin Williams. Let's look at that case. Melvin Williams, who was 60 years old at the time, was on the corner of Pine Street. And I remember me and Lyndall talking about this, and I was so interested in this case. Was 60 years old at the time, was on the corner of Pine Street and West Thomas Street in Rocky Mount. We all know where that is. In the late night hours when he was approached and beaten by two unknown suspects. The suspects beat him with pipes and a bedpost. Can you imagine?
Evil.
God, striking him in his head and torso area. He went to the local hospital the following morning where he was diagnosed with a rib fracture and then sent home. On 2/6/20, which was 2 days later, he went back to the hospital with severe abdominal pain and was admitted to the hospital where he declined and passed away the following day. His death was ruled a homicide by blunt force injuries of the torso, of course. I mean, that's pretty bad.
That's
to be
terrible.
Beaten by a bedpost. I mean, honestly, and a pipe. But this happened on the corner, envision that, on the corner of Pine Street and Thomas Street in Rocky Mount.
And that sounds like a random act.
It sounds random because, I mean, it says, you know, on the, he was just, wasn't he just
Yeah, it was just kind
approached him? I guess he was walking, right? He was walking. But see, there goes again, you know, it's midnight. Nothing good happens at that time.
Yeah. My
You
mother
know.
and granny always said, if it's 11 o'clock, I don't care, you need to be at home.
Absolutely. So he was out at an unfortunate time when these folks just come up and did that. But if anybody knows anything about Melvin Williams and this particular case, please give the authorities a call. 406-6736 is the hotline. You can certainly collect your reward, as I said, pretty quickly. So, and we'll talk about one more case. Let's talk about Zartavius Henderson. Anybody knows about this? Around 11:30 p.m., a shooting took place on the 1200 block of Ash Street near Howard Avenue in Tarboro. When Tarboro police arrived on the scene, they found 19-year-old Zartavius Henderson of Rocky Mount suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. Police and paramedics began life-saving measures. Henderson was transported to an area hospital, then airlifted to another hospital where he passed away. See, just another unfortunate thing. The corner of Ash Street and Howard Avenue in Tarboro, and this happened 6/5/20. These were all in close proximity. All three of these cases were in June of 2020 that we just talked about. And I wanted to talk about it because they are pretty, they only happened last year. They're recent. So,
What's sad and disappointing is almost everyone who perpetrated this crime these
Yep.
crimes, I guarantee you they have bragged about it to a relative, to a girlfriend, to
Yes.
a boy. I promise you, they've bragged about it to someone.
Right. Well, it will remain anonymous, and so, we are just hoping that somebody will come forth in these cases. We do replay this show more than, we said we're going to do 2 replays and we have set times, but we play it more than that. We're really putting this show out. We have it on YouTube. It's all over the place, so we hope that you will tell folks about it. That's the key. We need your help. We need the public to tell folks about the show so that people will watch it and something can just jar somebody's memory. It really can. So if you would help us out as the public, we would really appreciate it. We hope you will pick up one of these books. We've given out a lot of them. People are telling me it's a good read. They enjoy it. People tell me I read it all the way through before I even stop. So you might want to pick up one of the books. We're hoping some of these cases will jar somebody's memory, and you will call our number and come forth with some information that will help solve. We do this to give families closure. Is so important. I mean, it really is to give these families closure, because some of these folks, they don't know what happened. They want to know what happened to their loved one. And even the missing people, missing persons that we talk about, their families don't even have a body to even bury. And so, you have to feel bad. So anyway, we hope you will help us out with this by spreading the word. We need your help to spread the word. We are thinking about another fundraiser. We keep wanting to replenish our funds so we will be able to pay, because we're hoping we will get some influx in calls coming in for these cases to help us out. All right, let's do another case here. All right, this is a long case. Jaleel Taqui Evans. Jaleel Evans had just turned 29 when he went missing on October 1st around 7:30 p.m. from a home of a female in Greensboro on East Market Street. Jaleel was born in North Carolina and had moved to Georgia when he was young, and then moved to Greensboro when he was 14 and has been there ever since. He has family that lives in Rocky Mount. He does visit Rocky Mount from time to time. Jaleel, who goes by JT, was found near the entrance of Sandy Creek Game Land on Sumler Road in Castalia. Oh yeah, I remember this case. Yes. On October 28th. There have been a few stories released that were not correct on the location and time he was last seen, and they thought they were almost about ready to solve this, and then it didn't happen.
Wow.
They thought. He was found in a field in Castalia on this Sumler Road, and they really thought they had it solved. Those stories have since been cleared up by witnesses and family members. Jaleel's father last saw him on September 29th at his home on Britton Street, and 2 days later he disappeared. On October 1st around 7:30 p.m. Jaleel was at a female's house on East Market Street, as it said earlier. He received a call from someone asking him to go to Durham with them. Jaleel did not seem comfortable, according to a friend, but he went anyway. He was picked up by at least 2 males in a dark Chevrolet. One of the males was a thin, light-skinned male with a red beard and freckles. Jaleel from Greensboro was found in Castalia. A person whose family owns the land has been questioned and since lawyered up. Well, that's interesting. That's very interesting. Lawyered up. Why would they feel like, if I own land and somebody was just dumping on my land and I said, I don't know, why'd I get a lawyer?
Right. There's absolutely no reason to. You've done absolutely nothing wrong.
Why would I get a lawyer and pay a lawyer? That's weird. That's really weird. But yeah, they actually thought they were going to solve this case. And you know what? I still think they feel good about solving this case. I think they do. So somebody please come forth, because you know somebody knows something about this case. And they even said, what did they say about the person with freckles? And he left in a dark Chevrolet with 2 males. He did not feel comfortable about the phone call he got, did not feel comfortable about going, they said. One of the males was a thin, now see, they know this. One of the males was a thin, light-skinned male with a red beard and freckles. Now, that's easily identifiable.
Now, if I was the property owner and I had a son that was a light-skinned male with a red beard, my son,
Yeah.
who had a red beard freckled, I would probably hire an attorney.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So if I thought there was a tie to a family member, okay, I would probably lawyer up. I would.
Right. Right. So there's a reason, we don't know why, but there is a reason why these folks that own the land at Castalia have gotten a lawyer. So anyway, interesting case. I think I'm going to call the sheriff and ask him, are they close in any way, or call Lieutenant Sherrod and see if they might feel like they might be getting close to that case, because they have really worked that case hard. They have really worked it hard from what they have told us. So anyway, folks, you know what to do. Number 1, call if you know anything. Number 2, help us out as the public. Please help us spread the word about this. Please tell folks when it's on TV. Tell them where to find it. WHIG TV's YouTube page. Tell them where to find it. So, in case somebody sees anything that they know about any case, they can help us out. Help law enforcement out. All right. Thank you for watching today. Thank you, JP.
Thank you for having me.
Always enjoy it. And we'll see you next week on the K-Files.
The annual enrollment period for your Medicare needs and changes is coming soon, October 15th through December 7th. Locally owned with over 75 years experience, Statewide Insurers Group provides the knowledge and expertise needed to ensure you find the proper Medicare coverage right for you.
Relationships matter. Call Statewide Insurers Group today for the answers you need now. Call us at 252-316-8166.
Being prepared and trained is the best way to keep your family safe. The best way to be prepared is to learn from those who've spent a lifetime protecting us. Barnes Safety and Consulting LLC offers concealed carry classes with instructors who are law enforcement officers active and retired with more than 100 years of law enforcement experience. Monthly classes are taught year-round with private classes and special group rates available. Classes are $75 and held in the Bailey area. Call or text 1-800-653-0643. Get your concealed carry permit and avoid becoming a victim.